Have you ever stayed somewhere that hurt you, just because leaving felt wrong? Have you ever given your best to people who gave you their worst, hoping one day they would see your value? If you have felt this, then this story is for you. Because sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is not to fight harder. It is to walk away. In a quiet town surrounded by rolling hills and old cobblestone streets, there lived a young craftsman named Marcus. He was talented beyond measure. His hands could turn ordinary wood into extraordinary art. Chairs that felt like clouds, tables that looked like poetry, cabinets that whispered stories of care and precision. Everyone who saw Marcus's work said the same thing. This man is gifted. But Marcus didn't work for himself. He worked in a large workshop owned by a man named Mr. Grayson, a cold, calculating man who saw people as tools, not human beings. Every morning, Marcus arrived before sunrise. Every evening, he left long after sunset. His back ached. His hands were covered in cuts and splinters, but he never complained. He believed that hard work and loyalty would eventually be rewarded. Mr. Grayson's workshop was famous across the region. People traveled from distant cities to buy furniture from Grayson's masterpieces. But the truth was, Marcus created almost everything. Yet when customers praised the work, Mr. Grayson smiled and took all the credit. And when customers paid premium prices, Marcus received barely enough to survive. "You are lucky to work here," Mr. Grayson would say. "There are hundreds of craftsmen who would take your place tomorrow." And Marcus believed him, so he stayed. Day after day, year after year, his talent grew, but his spirit slowly died. One afternoon, while Marcus was carefully carving a wooden frame, a well-dressed stranger entered the workshop. He watched Marcus work for several minutes, his eyes filled with genuine admiration. "Excuse me," the stranger said gently. "Did you create this?" Marcus nodded quietly, not looking up from his work. "Remarkable," the stranger whispered. "I own a furniture gallery in the city. I've been searching for someone with your skill for years. If you are interested, I'd like to offer you a position, your own workspace, your name on every piece, and 3 times what you are earning now." Marcus's heart leaped. 3 times his salary, his own workspace, his name on his creations. It was everything he had ever dreamed of. But then doubt crept in. Fear whispered in his ear. What if you fail? What if you are not good enough? Mr. Grayson has given you a job all these years. Isn't leaving him wrong, disloyal, selfish? Marcus looked at the stranger and said softly, "Thank you, sir, but I can't. I have responsibilities here." The stranger looked sad but understanding. He placed his business card on the table and said, "If you change your mind, the offer stands." Then he left. Marcus watched him go, and something inside him broke just a little more. Weeks passed. The business card sat in Marcus's pocket, growing worn and wrinkled. He would touch it sometimes, imagining a different life. But every time he thought about leaving, guilt consumed him. Then one day, everything changed. Marcus was finishing a custom dining table, an incredibly complex piece that had taken him 2 months to complete. It was his finest work. Every detail was perfect. Every curve told a story. When Mr. Grayson saw it, even he couldn't hide his amazement. "This will sell for a fortune," he said, already calculating the profit. That evening, Marcus overheard Mr. Grayson talking to a wealthy client on the phone. Yes, I designed it myself. It took months of planning. You know how I am. I don't create anything unless it is perfect." Marcus stood frozen. "I designed it myself," the words echoed in his mind. Not, "We designed it." Not, "My craftsman created it." I designed it myself. In that moment, Marcus saw the truth he had been avoiding for years. He wasn't an employee here. He was invisible, a ghost creating beauty for someone else's name, someone else's glory, someone else's fortune. He thought of all the years he had given, all the hours he had sacrificed, all the dreams he had postponed, and for what? To be erased, to be forgotten, to be used. That night, Marcus couldn't sleep. He sat by his window, staring at the stars, and asked himself a question he had been too afraid to ask before. How much of my life am I willing to waste waiting for someone to value me? The next morning, Marcus did something he had never done. He visited old Thomas, a retired craftsman who lived on the edge of town. Thomas had once been famous. Before age took his steady hands, now he spent his days in a small garden growing flowers. Marcus sat beside him and poured out everything: the years of work, the lack of recognition, the stranger's offer, the guilt he felt about leaving. Old Thomas listened patiently, his weathered face calm and knowing. When Marcus finished, Thomas was quiet for a long moment, then he pointed to a small tree in his garden. "See that tree, Marcus?" Thomas said softly. "I planted it 5 years ago. In the beginning, I planted it too close to the fence. It couldn't grow properly. Its branches kept hitting the wood, its roots had no space. But I felt bad moving it. After all, I had planted it there. I didn't want to disturb it." Thomas paused, letting the words settle. "One day, my neighbor said to me, 'Thomas, that tree is dying. It needs space.' So I dug it up, even though it felt wrong, and planted it here, where it could breathe. Look at it now. Strong, healthy, thriving." Marcus stared at the tree, and tears filled his eyes. Thomas placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. "Marcus, a tree doesn't apologize for growing. It simply grows. And when something blocks its growth, it either breaks through or finds new ground. You are like that tree. You've been planted in the wrong place, and no matter how loyal you are to that place, it will never give you the room you need." "But what about loyalty?" Marcus asked, his voice breaking. "What about responsibility?" Thomas smiled sadly. "Loyalty to others is beautiful, Marcus, but loyalty to yourself is sacred. Walking away from what diminishes you isn't betrayal. It is survival. It is choosing life over slow death." The next morning, Marcus walked into Mr. Grayson's workshop with a quiet determination he had never felt before. He placed his tools on the workbench and said, "I am leaving." Mr. Grayson looked up, surprised. "Leaving? Don't be ridiculous. You can't just leave." "I can," Marcus said calmly. "And I am." "You are ungrateful," Mr. Grayson shouted. "After everything I've done for you." Marcus looked him in the eye. "You didn't do anything for me, Mr. Grayson. You did everything for yourself, and I let you, because I thought staying was the right thing to do. But I was wrong. The right thing to do is to value myself, even if you never will." And then, without waiting for a response, Marcus walked out. He didn't run, he didn't slam the door. He simply walked away. The air outside felt different. Lighter, cleaner. For the first time in years, Marcus could breathe. Marcus called the stranger from the business card. The offer was still available. Within a week, Marcus was working in a bright, spacious studio in the city. His name was on the door. His signature was on every piece he created. And people didn't just buy his furniture, they celebrated it, they celebrated him. But the greatest change wasn't in his bank account or his workspace. It was in his heart. For the first time in years, Marcus felt alive. He woke up excited. He worked with joy. He slept with peace. One evening, as he finished a beautiful rocking chair, he carved a small inscription on the underside where only he could see it. "I walked away, and I found myself." So my friend, are you like Marcus? Are you staying somewhere that drains your light? Are you giving your best to people who give you their worst? Remember this: walking away doesn't make you weak. It makes you wise. It doesn't make you disloyal. It makes you honest. Because the truth is, you cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot bloom in soil that refuses to nourish you. Some places are not meant for forever. Some people are not meant to understand your value, and that is okay, because your worth is not determined by who stays or who leaves. It is determined by how much you are willing to respect yourself. The door is always there. The question is, when will you choose to walk through it? Your life is precious. Protect it. Your peace is sacred. Choose it, and never ever apologize for walking away from what no longer serves your soul.